Good morning, everyone. Paul Ruppel here with Fox 29 News Now. Hope your Friday is off to a fantastic start. We're going to get you out to a live event to start you off this morning. This is the Democratic presidential candidates, and they are protesting. They're visiting a migrant detention facility in Homestead, Florida. That's near where where night 2 of the first 2020 Democratic presidential nominee debate took place. That was in Miami, Florida last night and the night before, Wednesday night. Let's listen in as Kamala Harris, the senator from California, is speaking at the detention facility.
Accurate information about what they are doing. Repeatedly, I have asked them to give us information about the thousands of complaints of sexual abuse that have occurred within these HHS facilities. And they have failed to adequately inform your United States Congress, which has a constitutional duty and responsibility to conduct oversight over exactly what's happening in this facility. So we are seeing a breakdown not only of our moral values, we're seeing a breakdown of our democracy when this administration allows this kind of conduct to occur and clearly has instructed these folks not to give members of your United States Congress access and information. So we have a fight before us, a challenge before us, which is not only to stand with these families and fight for these children, but to fight for our democracy, and so fight we will. Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Thank you, Senator. Now, I would like to introduce Governor John Hickenlooper. It's the first time I meet the governor, but I am so impressed by the fact that he took the time to come down here to understand what's affecting our community. I'm so grateful, Governor, for that. So, without much ado.
Thank you, Congresswoman. I appreciate your leadership on this from the beginning, all through making sure that these people have a voice. It's very powerful. I'm impressed. I'll be very brief. I look at what we tried to do in Colorado as a template for what we can do in this country. We actually closed 2 prisons. One of them was a private prison. And the one thing we've always required is when you have a private facility of detention, and especially one that is detaining children, you should have higher requirements of transparency than you do in a public institution. Because obviously when there's a profit motive involved, we want to make absolutely sure that they're not cutting corners, that they are not unduly, exaggerating the damage that we already know is being done. I think back to when I first read about the humanitarian crisis at the border, that children would be taken from the arms of their parents and put into cages, and that in a number of cases, these children were put up for adoption. I don't know, in Colorado we call that kidnapping. I think the time has come to recognize that we can do a better job, that these kids do have sponsors, most of them related in some way with the children themselves. Let's make sure we get these kids back into homes where they really are homes, and not essentially, there's no other way for it, essentially prison facilities. I appreciate all you being here and realize that your voice and your efforts is going to be the strongest tool that we have to make sure this ends in the near future.
Thank you. And I would also like to introduce someone that I have had also the pleasure of meeting several times that I've always been so impressed with. Former Secretary of Housing, Julian Castro, who has been down here also several times. And I'll let him talk to this issue, but this couldn't be more personal for you and for me.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman. Thank you for your leadership. It's good to be with you all today. Let me begin by saying that the reason we're here is all about who we are as a nation and what we want to become in the years to come. We came here today to get a look at a private detention facility for children. And instead of being shown this detention facility where 2,700 kids are staying, we were stonewalled. We were stonewalled today by an administration and a private contractor that does not want us to see what is happening behind those walls. And it makes you wonder, what in the hell are they hiding? Is it the overcrowding? Is it the sexual abuse? Is it the emotional damage that has been done to these children, many of whom are here for weeks and weeks, and some of them for several months? We need to reform our immigration system. Necesitamos reformar el sistema inmigración. Es necesario proteger estos niños. It's necessary to protect these children. And this administration, for all of its talk about immigration, has been a complete disaster. It has been a total failure. Donald Trump knew when he got into office on January 20th, 2017, that we had many people who were already coming from Central America. He should have immediately reached out to Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala to partner with them so that more people could find safety and opportunity at home instead of having to come to the United States. Instead of that, he has wasted 2.5 years and made the situation worse. Last month, 144,000 people came to our southern border. We need to stop playing games with people who are seeking asylum. The reason that Oscar Martinez and his daughter Valeria drowned in that river was because they were denied the ability to make an asylum claim at a port of entry. And they got so frustrated that they risked their lives, and it cost them their lives, to try and get across that river. We need to stop that. We need to honor asylum claims. We need to make sure that our immigration court system is independent and it has the judges and the support staff that they need to get those claims determined more quickly. We also need to make sure that these children are not in a detention facility, but in the homes of family members or caregivers who love them, that can provide for them. One of the questions that was asked inside was how long it takes, or the gentleman that we spoke to talked about how long it takes for them to vet potential sponsors. And he said that it was between 7 and 14 days. If you want a concrete example of something that we can do to improve this system, it is to make sure that it does not take 2 weeks to vet sponsors, that we can do that immediately. And I believe that we can fix our broken immigration system and treat people with common sense and with compassion instead of with cruelty. And we're going to make sure that beginning on January 20th, 2021, we do that and we shut these places down. Gracias.
Thank you, Secretary. I would like to introduce, and I don't think she needs introduction in this community, Commissioner Daniela Levin Cava. The commissioner went inside the facility this morning, so I would like for her to speak as to what she saw.
Congresswoman, you have been our champion. You have been in before. You have supported these witnesses who've been here for months. Thank you. Thank you so much for your courage. Thank you. And to all of those who are bringing attention to this matter, it's so important because the world needs to know that this should not be happening in our country, on our watch, in my community. These children are physically cared for. It is an antiseptic facility. I saw the children. I was not allowed to speak with them. I saw the cafeterias. I saw the dorms. You know, what is important is not so much what's happening outside, it's what's happening inside. That we cannot know. These children have suffered to get to this country. They suffered at the border when so many of them were separated from family members that were prepared to care for them right then. They suffered when they were not placed in community settings. There is no temporary foster program in this state for these children. I learned that there is in other states. Why can't we have that here? So many of the people here today are ready to open their homes to these children. So many of them should be cleared immediately, not 7 days, not 14 days. I was told it's an average of 30 days, but we know for many it's so much longer, and the population is growing. So the answer is shut it down. We must shut it down, not on our watch. Thank you.
Thank you, and I would like to just make my final remarks in Spanish. Quiero agradecer a todos los candidatos presidenciales que vinieron esta mañana para acompañarme para visitar el centro de detención de Homestead. No nos dejaron entrar. Este centro tiene en este momento 2.700 chicos entre las edades de 13 y 17 años y han escapado de violencia, y la mayoría de ellos han sido separados en la frontera. Y quiero mandar un mensaje a mi comunidad latina del sur de la Florida. Nuestros valores son de familia, de proteger a nuestros hijos. Nosotros hemos venido acá para darles oportunidades a nuestros hijos que no podíamos darle en nuestros países. Por eso mi madre me trajo acá. Yo sé que mis hermanos venezolanos están sufriendo en este momento y entienden muy bien lo que es escapar un gobierno de corrupción y de violencia. A mis hermanos cubanos, ustedes también entienden lo que es, y yo sé que como padres nos han enseñado, Dios nos ha enseñado que el valor de tener a nuestras familias unidas nunca va a dejar de separarnos. Así que estoy pidiendo a la comunidad de Miami, del sur de la Florida, que nos acompañen. Yo he estado luchando por este tema por meses. Necesito que estén conmigo. Por eso agradezco tanto a estos candidatos que vinieron, a la comisionadora Daniela Levin Cava, y a todos los activistas y a las personas que han estado aquí acompañándonos por meses, día a día, contándonos lo que han estado viendo, porque este centro tenía 1.600 chicos en febrero y ahora estamos casi a 3.000, y hay una compañía que se está enriqueciendo para mantener a estos chicos adentro, y no es justo, no está bien, no en nuestra comunidad, no en el estado de la Florida y no en los Estados Unidos de América. Gracias.
You've been watching an event in Homestead, Florida, where Democratic 2020 presidential candidates have been protesting the migrant detention facility in Florida. Sounds like they tried to go inside, and they were talking about the facilities overall. Of course, they're coming off the second night of their presidential debate in Miami, Florida, not far from Homestead. I want to get you to another event that's occurring right now as we speak. This is a protest occurring in Philadelphia. The members of the Pennsylvania Association of Staff Nurses and Allied Professionals, PA SNAP, they're rallying outside Hahnemann University hospital owner Joel Friedman's home to demand that he come back to the table and find a way to save the historic institution. That's the way they describe it on their own press release there. These more succinct description there. The nurses are marching on the hospital owner's home to save their hospital. Looks like that has gone away. So let's. But they're protesting. Looks like the shot's back. Let's put that up for you. Patients before profits are what their signs say. The closure of Hahnemann would result in a bona fide public health emergency, the nurses union says. Their emergency department treats more than 40,000 patients annually, and they're saying this occurs in a city where every hospital has wait times well above the state and national averages. No Philadelphia hospital can absorb the increased volume that would follow a closure without compromising the quality of care they are able to provide, according to the press release from the union there. Let's listen in to the union speaking.
So we'll see what happens, but today we are in Rittenhouse Square so that we can make a direct appeal to Joel at his house at 21st and Locust. We're going to be walking over there so that we can, he doesn't seem to want to show his face where we are, where we work, where he has our jobs and our livelihoods on the line. So instead we're going to show up where he is and see what we can do at his house.
Are you sitting here trying to call
Oh, he's not there anymore. Yeah, well, somebody's there. So I guess we're just gonna...
We're gonna march over like in orderly fashion.
down the curve, that's what the train down there, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be like diagonal out that way from the square, and then we'll see what we can do when we get there. Probably not.
All right. So you see the nurses are taking off on their march to Hahnemann University Hospital. Our photographer obviously doing great work out there, trying to not only cover the event, get everybody speaking, get the signs, get the flavor of the event, but also be on the move and ready to go when they start marching. So sometimes you see the TV production happening live. Our camera crews do a great job out there getting us all the shots, and now in addition to that, streaming back live for us so that we can get a live look around the city at what's happening. Looks like they have someone drumming up in front of the march. Headed to the home of the hospital CEO.
We can see your greedy side. Joel Freeman, you can't hide. We can see your greedy side. Joel Freeman, you can't hide. We can see your greedy side. Joel Freeman, you can't hide. We can see your greedy side. Joel Freeman, you can't hide. We can see your greedy side. Joel Freeman, you can't hide. We can see your greedy side.
All right, on Good Day Philadelphia this morning, we were talking more about the closure of Hahnemann Hospital as well as the Pennsylvania Energy Solutions, or Philadelphia Energy Solutions refinery. Let's get you some of that conversation from Good Day Philadelphia this morning. We're talking about the job losses and the impacts if folks are not able to rally to save these businesses. Here is that conversation from Good Day Philadelphia this morning.
Well, thank you. 7:31, back to a developing story we've been following for several days now. Of course, thousands of workers being impacted by the announced closures of the Philadelphia Energy Solutions refinery and Hahnemann University Hospital.
The city and state, they are doing their part to support those affected. The refinery is a total loss after last week's fire and explosion. It's been exactly 1 week now. As for the hospital, yesterday the state secretary of health issued a cease and desist order, which will prevent it from immediately shutting its doors. The hospital originally announced it would close on September 6th. Hospital workers are just trying to save their jobs. They rallied yesterday in front of City Hall, and this morning they're traveling to Harrisburg for a news conference, and they're going to rally there. So we have Rich Laser, Philadelphia's deputy mayor of labor, here with what the city is doing for those workers, because so many people are thinking, wow, it's nearly 4,000 people will be without jobs.
Yeah, it's a big loss to the city, and our main goal is the employees. How do we help them? How do we sit with them? We're working with the unions that represent these employees in these facilities. We're working with Philadelphia Works, which is our workforce board that has investment dollars. We're going to be hosting job-specific job fairs for PES and for Hahnemann Hospital in different locations. We're going to have those set up in the next couple weeks. We have resource dollars from the state and the city to help with training money, on-the-job training money, and kind of direct employees to resources. Our main goal is how do we protect workers and how do we have this have as least impact on their lives as possible and provide them with opportunities, specifically in industries that they're working in now, bring in some of our other big employees in the regions to help them and also make sure that they transition.
So let's dissect this. Let's start with Hahnemann University Hospital here. We're talking about the cease and desist. What exactly does that mean for the workers?
So that actually just gives them more, it gives the hospital has to stay open more time according to the state to make sure that anything does happen.
At least 90 days to provide a plan.
So it pushes it back till September. But we want to be on the forefront of it. We're going to work with workers now to make sure that if it does close, we want to make sure that we're transitioning workers properly and that they have the support that they need.
And when we say transition, would this mean how far out are we talking? You say across the region,
right.
Because you think about transportation, how they're able to get to these jobs,
right.
and whether it's really feasible for them.
Yes, I think specifically for Hahnemann, we're going to look at our other healthcare providers in the city, like Jefferson and Penn and Temple, and see how we can work with them to try to bring them in. We're looking to have a big fair at the convention center in the next couple weeks to bring a bunch of businesses in and hospitals and healthcare providers to try to bring in the workers and see where they best could fit and try to make this transition as easy as possible.
You're working with other states, other firms as well?
Yes, I mean, the state's a big helper in this, especially in funding. Like I said, Philadelphia Works is state funded and federally funded for job money to make sure that workers that are displaced are taken care of. And like I said, if folks are going in a different training in different jobs, we have training money to help them.
I know the union says this will create a public health emergency. Do you agree with that assessment?
I think
the closure?
I do. I think that it's scary because then it just puts burden on other hospitals in the region. So we got to make sure that we're doing this. And I think that's why the secretary issued that 90-day desist order so the state and the city can look at the plan to make sure that we're doing this properly.
What's the likelihood the state could take control?
I don't know. I mean, the governor, we have been working with the governor's office and the Department of Health, with our Department of Health to make sure, and we're looking at all options.
So really it's a prepare for the worst but hope for the best kind of situation.
Definitely.
With this. So when it comes to the refinery and making sure for those people who are losing those jobs, what about for them?
Same thing. We're going to go down there. We're going to have mobile units go down there. We're going to try to have workers that are closer to that area. So we're not bringing folks in Center City. We're going to go closer to where the refinery is, where the people live. It's kind of same thing. I mean, there's special skills down there at the refinery. So we're going to look at industry partners, maybe our utility partners, bring them in and see how we can help workers be placed.
So it might be jobs, not exactly what they were doing, but something that's kind of similar that they can still connect with.
Exactly. And I think that's what's important about Philadelphia Works, because we have job training money that we can help retrain folks and that we can help, pay for, subsidized wages during the training process.
Well, this all sounds really great, but realistically, is it likely that everyone will be able to find another job? I mean, how likely
We're hopeful.
is that?
Amazing restoration of a historic mission control room. I've had the privilege of coming in here several times before the restoration. I'm going to be truly amazed, I'm sure, at how great this exhibit has become. A very special thanks to Space Center Houston, William, and NASA, Mark, for allowing me the opportunity to take part today. Serving as the lead Republican on the Space and Aeronautics Subcommittee in the U.S. House of Representatives, it's been one of my highest honors in my time to serve in Congress. I'm very proud to represent the Johnson Space Center, and I'm dedicated to enabling NASA to continue to build upon our tremendous spacefaring accomplishments, many of which were controlled in this very, very room. And used throughout the Gemini and Apollo programs, and later for some of the shuttle missions, this room will serve as a reminder of what we as a nation can accomplish when we have a clear vision. Just exactly what President Kennedy said over there talking to the Rice Owls. And by the way, I am a Longhorn alum. Okay. Today, America once again has a clear vision for space. President Trump, Vice President Pence, and the great Administrator Bridenstine, who, as he said, I served with in the United States House of Representatives, have ensured that America has received this mission and that NASA is determined to achieve it with the Artemis program. And I will continue to use my position in Congress to advocate for the support that's needed for NASA to do exactly that. And recently, I, along with Space and Aeronautics Subcommittee Committee Chairwoman Kendra Horn, also from Oklahoma, introduced a resolution in the House celebrating the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11 moon landing. And every Republican member of the Science, Space, and Technology Committee has agreed to sign on. In addition, nearly every member so far of the Democrat side of the committee have as well. Much like the preservation of this site, House Concurrent Resolution 47 seeks to honor the accomplishment of those who landed Americans on the moon and brought them home safely, a legacy that will be preserved forever. I'm very proud to be standing here and making that statement. And thanks to the hard work of those who were involved in this huge undertaking, generations of students, space enthusiasts, and tourists will now be able to experience this extraordinary chapter of our American history. And I'm very honored to share this very special occasion with all of you. And just think of all the young people, just as Administrator Bridenstine said, he wasn't even born, and yet he was inspired after he began to grow and learn, and here he is now, the administrator of NASA. He wasn't even born on the day that this great event happened 50 years ago, and yet we are going to inspire young people, some who are not even yet born, with the great things that we're going to do here in the very near future. So thank you.
When we go back.
Yes, you will. Absolutely. Thank you very much. God bless.
You've been watching an Apollo 11 anniversary event being held in Houston, Texas. Looks like we had some technical difficulties there in the middle of the refinery and the Philadelphia jobs creation segment from Good Day Philadelphia, and we were in you were seeing the Supreme Court for a little while. So let's get you to the news that's being made there this morning. Here's a live look at the nation's highest court. The court, after a day after some big rulings on the census question, as well as gerrymandering and the federal court's role in that, the court has decided that it will make a decision whether President Donald Trump can end a President Obama-era program shielding young immigrants from deportation. The Justice's order Friday sets up high-stakes legal arguments in the fall, with a decision likely in June 2020 as the president seeks re-election. Trump ordered an end to the program called DACA in 2017, resulting in protests and a failed congressional effort to salvage it. Federal courts in California, New York, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., meanwhile, have blocked the president from ending it immediately. A federal judge in Texas has declared the program is illegal, but refused to order it halted. So that's the big news coming from the court today. The court will, in fact, consider DACA in the fall session, with a ruling likely next spring in the throes of the 2020 presidential election. So we'll get you more on that and what else is on the court's docket if it becomes available while we're here. In the meantime, let's get you a look at weather. Here again is a live look at the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. You see the Love statue in the background there. I Love Philly campaign and sign underway there. And here's a live look outside our studios at 4th and Market Streets in Old City. Currently it is 84 degrees outside. The dew point is 64, so a little sticky out there. Winds out of the east at 4 miles per hour. Let's get a look at those current temperatures across the region. 80s for just about everywhere except Mount Pocono at 76. 88 in Atlantic City and Millville right now. Those are the hot spots. Your northeast temperatures, 80s along the coast, except up in New England. 70s back inland as far as Cleveland and Toronto. U.S. temperatures, you see 80s along the Gulf Coast, 50s out west right now, Midwest in the 70s. Cool spot right now looks to be Santa Fe at 61. Maybe a little counterintuitive there, but your hourly temperature change, not much change. Winds calm across much area, so not much breeze to give you relief from the heat. Winds generally out of the east, so should be a shore breeze today. Might be able to get a little bit of relief down there as people start to head down for the weekend. Visibility pretty good across the area and not much to speak of in terms of cloud cover. Here's a look at your future cast. Maybe some showers there, but high pressure generally in control. So here is your 7-day forecast from the Fox 29 Weather Authority. We're making it official today. We should get to a high of 93, which makes this heat wave number 1. Saturday, humid with PM storms, high of 94. And Sunday, warm with pop-ups, 85. We're calling all three of these crazy 8s. 8 on our forecast by the numbers. Monday, sunny and warm, 88. Tuesday, back to the 90s, 91. Wednesday, sunny and hot, 92. And Thursday, your 4th of July forecast. Hot with pop-ups, 92, and looks like we could be piecing together heat wave number 2 right there, with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday temperatures in the 90s. Remember to download the Fox 29 Weather Authority app on the Google Play and Apple iTunes stores. Get the latest conditions, get the hourly forecast, get location-based alerts wherever you are when severe weather moves in. Don't forget to download it. And another look at the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. The folks who would like to make the next appointments to the Supreme Court after President Donald Trump. The Democratic candidates for president in 2020 held their second consecutive night of debate in Miami, Florida last night. Both nights are now officially over. Who had a good night and who had a bad one? Fox's Doug Luzader has more from Washington this morning on the debate.
7-Eleven. The ground may have shifted in the Democratic race for president.
Last night's debate in Miami featured several frontrunners. Let's get to Doug Luzader. Is it too early to say this has changed the political landscape?
Well, maybe so. I think the first set of polls that we see after this debate will be very interesting to see whether things have, in fact, shifted around. It was pretty evident from the very beginning, though, that Joe Biden walked onto that stage with a big target on his back.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a local decision.
So that's where the federal government must step in.
Joe Biden must have known that he would be in for a long night. He was the runaway frontrunner on this NBC News stage, and a number of other Democrats were ready to go after him, including Kamala Harris, who zeroed in on Biden's opposition to federally forced school busing decades ago.
And, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
It's a mischaracterization of my position across the board.
Biden launched into a defense, but he also took some incoming over his age.
Joe Biden was right when he said it was time to pass the torch to a new generation of Americans 32 years ago. He's still right today.
It's a mess, and we're hurting.
As South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg had to explain a recent racially charged police shooting in his city.
I'm going to harness love for political purposes.
And Google noted that the most searched candidate during the debate was author Marianne Williamson. And despite some heated exchanges, there were moments of agreement.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
All hands went up, and that caught the attention of President Trump, who wrote on Twitter, "All Democrats just raised their hands for giving millions of illegal aliens unlimited health care. How about taking care of American citizens first?" That's the end of that race. But the president was also a frequent target last night.
The American people understand that Trump is a phony, that Trump is a pathological liar and a racist.
All right, and these Democrats, all of them now, have about a month to rest or regroup if necessary before the next Democratic primary debate, which is in Detroit on July 30th and 31st, still spread out over 2 days like this one in Miami was.
Because there's so many candidates, you're going to have to.
And over the course of the next year, they're going to be very careful what they say, because then we're going to start seeing those allies form, those partnerships. So we'll see as the contenders start to weed out. Doug in Washington. Doug, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you to Doug Luzader for that report. We also had the host of Fox News Sunday, Chris Wallace, join us on Good Day This Morning to break down the debate and some other hot topics in the nation's capital. Here's his conversation with our anchors.
8:40 exactly. The second round of the Democratic presidential debate was last night, with many of the crowded field of top contenders on the same stage. At one point, the candidates were talking over each other, while Kamala Harris tried to get a word in edgewise, and this quote is kind of making the rounds.
Okay, guys, you know what? America does not want to witness a food fight. They want to know how we're going to put food on their table.
I keep hearing that line over and over, Chris Wallace, and it seems like for Kamala Harris, she really stood out.
Yeah, she was the big winner last night. That was a very good moment for her. The biggest moment, and the one that's getting the most replay, was when she lit up Joe Biden on the issue of his talking about how he could work with segregationist senators and his opposition to busing, school busing back in the 70s. She was precise, she was pointed, and she was personal, because it turned out, and I don't think a lot of people knew it on that stage, I didn't know it, that in fact she had been bused as a little girl across town as part of school desegregation. It was one of her strongest moments and not one of the front-runner Joe Biden's best moments. He seemed a little shaky in terms of responding to her.
You make a very good point, and she even followed it up with a tweet of a picture of her as a little girl, the little girl that she described who had to get on the bus. But you're right, and I was surprised by the fact that Joe Biden seemed that way, because he had to go in knowing that they were going to be coming for him. He had a target on his back.
Well, he did, and he handled some of the other attacks better, I thought. He had an okay night. He certainly didn't do anything that I think will make him no longer the front runner. But I think he's less of a front runner, and the doubts that some people had about is he too old? Does he have the strength, the vigor the sharpness to run this long race. We're not going to even know who the Democratic nominee is. We're not going to have had the convention a year from now. And then you face the general election campaign against Donald Trump. I think those doubts will only increase. Generally speaking, and I don't think that we can make too much about last night. It was the first debate. There are going to be 11 more rounds of debate. So this is a marathon, not a sprint. I think the top tier, the four that we saw at the center of the stage last night, Buttigieg, Biden, Sanders, Kamala Harris, remain in the top tier, along with, from the first night, Elizabeth Warren. And I thought Cory Booker had a pretty good night the night before last, Wednesday night. But I don't think that anybody from the top tier dropped out, and I don't think anybody from the second tier raced into the top. So the race, jockeying for position, but I don't think the overall shape of the race has changed dramatically after last night.
So pretty much after those 2 nights, everything's still the same, almost anyway. But we'll see what goes on then in the coming months. And you're right, this is a marathon, so we have a while to go, and I'm sure we'll be discussing it this Sunday.
You bet. Yeah, we're going to have one of the top candidates. We can't quite announce who it is yet.
Okay.
But one of those top-tier candidates will be with us on Fox News Sunday. We'll also be talking about the president at the G20 summit, where he met with Vladimir Putin and almost as a throwaway line said to the Russian president, don't meddle in our elections. And also, between now and then, he's going to be meeting with Chinese President Xi, and we'll see whether or not they get back into trade talks or whether relations between the U.S. and China, the two greatest economies in the world, have really broken down. So all of that on Fox News Sunday.
Okay, we'll be watching. Thanks so much, Chris Wallace.
You bet. Thank you.
And thank you again to Chris Wallace for joining us this morning to talk more about the outcome of that debate. In other national news, today marks 50 years since the 1969 Stonewall riots in New York City. Police raids at the inn led to a riot that launched the LGBT rights movement. As seen in a new documentary, 50 years ago, life was very different for the gay community. Mark Siegel was an eyewitness to the Stonewall uprising.
At one point, I said to myself, blacks are fighting for their rights, Latinos are fighting for their rights, women are fighting for their rights. What about us? What about me?
In that moment, that instant.
There are many events going on this weekend to commemorate the milestone. Organizers expect a turnout of almost 5 million people, making it the world's largest ever LGBT Pride celebration.
And the next thought I had in my mind was, well, those kind of people don't get a salary. How am I going to live? And I thought I'd end up a street person.
All right, let's get you to some local news stories.
That's the passion I had.
Our Sabina Kuriakos was out on this one this morning. In Montgomery County this morning, firefighters were back at the scene of a strip mall fire. Sabina was live in Cheltenham Township to provide the latest information.
We still have firefighters right now on the scene. And earlier, I thought that these folks that had shown up, they weren't in uniform, so I thought they were some of the business owners. No. Turns out it is the next shift of firefighters. Those guys are able to go home, get an hour of rest, and then come back and relieve their colleagues. So now they have their gear on and they remain on the scene because we're told that there actually are still hot spots inside of that hair salon there that is still flaring up, and that's why they're working on it and still keeping an eye on things as it proceeds. So let's go again to that video so we can show you just how bad this fire was. 3 alarms yesterday broke out around 8:15 last night, got up to 3 alarms. So firefighters from all over our area, a lot of mutual aid coming in to battle this fire. A lot of folks actually, it was the end of a long day. They had already gone home for the night, and then they got called back to come back out and battle this fire. And of course, that's one of the reasons why they had to call in so many companies, because once you get tired, it shortens your time of how much you're able to work on this fire. So you have to keep calling in these separate shifts. Now we talked to Chief Kevin Lynch of the Ogons Fire Department, and he's the one heading up this whole operation, this whole firefight operation. Let's listen to what he told us.
When I first arrived, we had light to moderate smoke coming out of the roof in the rear of the structure. When we made entry, conditions rapidly deteriorated. We began a combined effort attack from both the back and the front. Once entry was made through the front, conditions completely deteriorated. It became unsafe for us to remain inside. We had to do what's called a trench cut, which is we cut the roof from front to back to stop the fire from spreading laterally. We're waiting for heavy machinery to show up, which is going to be in another couple hours, where we can start pulling apart and get to them. Crews are still on scene, monitoring that, and are on standby in the event it does flare up for extinguishment.
And so firefighters were dealing with some pretty severe conditions last night. The heat, the humidity, there was also old construction that they were dealing with. But look at the ground here. You can see all of these water bottles just scattered in the parking lot. That is from these firefighters trying to stay hydrated because it was about 88 degrees last night, even late into the evening. They had all of that gear on and they continued to battle this fire for about 3 hours, right up until just before 11 o'clock. I also want to mention, incredibly, you guys are not going to believe this, they say that when they arrived, there were still people at some of the businesses over on the end of the strip mall there, and they wouldn't leave when firefighters tried to evacuate them. So actually the police had to come in and get some of those folks out of the business. So of course that made the firefighters' jobs even harder on top of the fire that they were dealing with and the conditions that they were dealing with as well. So you can still see it is really active. We've got the state police and the fire marshal's office on the way this morning, and they're also going to bring out some heavy equipment so they can start breaking all of this apart and hopefully get rid of those hot spots that continue to flare up. Guys, back to you.
Thank you to Spina for that report. An early morning shooting left a man dead and a teen in the hospital. This is the second deadly shooting at that location in the last 7 days. Steve Keeley was live this morning at Presbyterian Hospital where that teen was taken. Let's watch Steve's report.
Today, a second early morning shooting and killing on the same West Philadelphia busy corner in the same week. At the always busy 56th and Market Street intersection, a second young Philadelphia young man, just 27, was shot in the back and killed at 2:30 a.m. just 6 days after a 30-year-old young man, also shot in the back and killed, also here at 56th and Market, Saturday morning at 4 a.m. A 19-year-old shot in both feet today survived. Two shooters firing two different caliber guns, leaving these 16 bullet shells on the sidewalk right across from the SEPTA 56th Street train station under the Market Frankfurt line elevated train.
We know at least 16 shots were fired from two separate caliber semi-automatic weapons. We found 16 spent shell casings at the intersection of 5-6 and Market. And we know that they're two separate caliber because they're two separate sizes. So we know two semi-automatic weapons were used. We don't have a motive for the shooting at this time. There are many businesses on every corner that have private surveillance cameras. We also have Philadelphia Police real-time crime cameras about 1 block south of this location. So homicide detectives, they are processing the scene. They're going to knock on doors of these businesses. Most of them are closed, but hopefully these cameras recorded something.
Too early yet to know if the two killings at this one intersection within the same week are related, are retaliation, or just pure awful coincidence. But no matter what, two killings on these always busy four corners with so many people and so many surveillance cameras all around shows how this continued plague of killing and gun violence is so prevalent and nonstop these days. In West Philly, Steve Keeley, Fox 29 News.
Thank you to Steve for that report. I think I have my mic on, so you might have heard me typing there. We are going to get you a couple more local news stories, and then we're going to get you a event that we promised earlier. In the headline of the video, actually, about the preview of the ice cream festival. Here is one of those local news stories. In Lehigh County, a former teacher is facing new charges after being accused of sexually abusing young girls. Prosecutors say 39-year-old Christian Willman had inappropriate interactions with 4 female students at Parkland High School in South Whitehall Township, where he taught back in 2005 through 2007. They say he sent flirtatious, then sexual text messages, and that led to sexual contact with the girls. Willman already faces allegations that he sexually abused 2 underage girls at a different school in Bucks County, where he taught a decade later.
I don't want to say it's not okay to trust teachers, because it is, but you just got to make sure that no line is being crossed. And for all the parents out there, there's no substitute for talking to your kids.
That was Bucks County District Attorney Matt Weintraub. Given the 10-year gap between the allegations, prosecutors are concerned Willman may have abused other students as well. If you know anything, they want to hear from you. All right, we've got two stories from Good Day Philadelphia, actually. Beating the heat, from cooling collars to necklace fans. These cool products are built for this heat wave, and you get to see our Alex Hawley and Thomas Drayton try them on. Here is that segment from Good Day this morning.
Yeah, we're feeling it. So we want to show you some ways you can look cool and stay cool, even in a heat wave, because once this one's done, there's going to be another one right after. So we have Brandon from, wait for it, the warming store. However, it's not just the warming store.
My cooling store as well.
So warming and cooling.
That's correct.
And you guys are pretty famous. You're in Manayunk, right?
Right.
Because Anderson Cooper wore your items for New Year's Eve.
He did. He wore a full heated outfit. Heated jacket, heated hat, heated long johns, heated socks, heated gloves.
So now we're going to have a whole cooling outfit for the summer. This is the summer version. How about that?
And this stuff works.
It does.
I'm going to be the test subject here because just the little time that I've been outside, this is so embarrassing.
Cracking a little sweat already.
Sweating.
Let's get to cooling. What
I'm going to keep my arms down.
This is one of our best-selling items. It's just a simple cooling towel. You soak it in water. You just throw it around your neck. Keeps you nice and cool.
So does the water drip? Does the water drip on you?
You soak it in water and then you squeeze the water out, and then what's left evaporates, and it works by evaporative cooling, just the way sweat works.
Will this end up wetting your shirt at all?
I mean,
a little bit.
A little bit.
But it does
Sometimes that's welcome when it's hot.
Yeah, depending on how hot you are,
And how long does it last for?
This one lasts for a couple hours at a time, but again, you just soak it. It takes a couple seconds. You wring it out, throw it right back on you.
Any kind of cold water.
Yep. Any kind of water.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's move on to next. Oh, I love fans.
These are awesome. This is actually one of my mother's favorite items because she suffers from hot flashes.
Just put your mother out there like that.
Well,
All right, so
this has a little fan. You throw it on, and it blows air directly up at your face.
So it can reach from all the way. You don't have to hold it up.
No, you don't. Yeah, it just kind of.
Is this what Beyonce walks around with all the time? The hair blowing? If I had hair, maybe it might.
Maybe it would blow a little.
I wore these in a wedding under a groomsman's suit. Just,
that's pretty smart.
It was like 98 degrees in the city.
Okay. How much are these?
These are $8.99.
And how much is a cooling towel? I don't know if
these, I think are $5.99.
Look at my price range.
I brought you a lot of reasonable items.
Yes. So what about this vest?
It's a little more expensive, but this is one of our best-selling cooling vests. So these have ice packs. They pop right out. These go in the freezer.
This might be too cool. I might be cold having all this. I mean, my gosh, right up against you. Okay, Thomas. I'm gonna go over here so I can.
And this is a one-size-fits-all item, so it's got straps and.
Oh yeah, show this, Thomas, so you can see. So yeah, I can stretch too, or yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Guaranteed to get a date.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll get you.
Wear that in your three-piece suit.
And how long does this one last?
This one stays cool for about 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. You can feel it instantly.
That is nice.
All right.
Let's move on to another.
These are $99. It's a little more expensive than some of the other stuff. This one is one of my favorite new items. So, this guy.
It looks like a USB port, right?
This runs on a power bank. You can run it on any power bank.
Okay.
And the way this works is, flip this on your belt, and then you throw your shirt over here. Not the most attractive look, but it's going to keep you warm.
And it
keep
looks
you
like
cool.
you're very active.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very nice. How much is that one?
These are $49. It includes the battery as well.
Okay. All right, let's keep it moving then. So this one is a collar cooler?
That is an ice collar. So this is similar to the towel, but
just pile it on here.
Just pile it on.
Yeah.
All right. So this has an ice pack in it, and I'll show you from this one here. Very similar to the ice vest. These guys just go in the freezer.
Okay, yeah.
And these stay cold for about 4 hours.
Are you supposed to wear it like that?
I don't know, but it's keeping my
Wear
ears
it like
cool.
that, yeah.
Okay. And then we have these.
So these two are both just neck coolers. They're two different types. This has a polymer crystal in it, and you can see it's absorbed a bunch of water. And this
Very
will stay
patriotic.
Like this will stay like this for days.
Okay.
And it'll stay cool for a couple hours at a time. And when it's soaked like this, you can just dip it in water again, or you can even go like this and it'll cool it off. And you just tie this guy around your neck and be patriotic.
Very nice. Very patriotic. Okay, so for our final one, the grand finale, this hat is something. What is going on here?
This is one of our customers' favorite items. We sell tons of these guys. It's a solar-powered fan hat. So in direct sunlight, this solar power picks up electricity.
We had to move our intern Carly so that way she could be in the direct sunlight.
As you'll see that Carly, the fan is blowing on her head, keeping her nice and cool.
Very nice. And how long? I mean, as long as you're in the sun.
In the sun, in direct sunlight, it's on. As soon as you step into the shade, it's off.
Okay. Step into the shade. Very nice. She says it's really good. She likes it a lot. 2 thumbs up. Thank you so much. How much is this? Did you mention?
That one is, I believe, $44.99.
Okay, $44.99. All right. Once again, you're in Manioc. The warming store, even though you're keeping us cool.
Yes,
Okay.
the warming store and my cooling store.
Okay, we appreciate it.
We're
Thank
hanging
you so
out this
much.
weekend like this. Would I embarrass you?
Yeah, I don't think I'm bringing you to the party. No, it's okay. All right. I think now next we're gonna talk about Will Smith.
Oh, that's right. He's thanking someone who has a Philly connection and how that person changed Will Smith's life. That's coming up after the break.
All right. Couple good ideas there for keeping you cool during this heat wave, and the one that looks to be coming right on its heels. We also have the information, the aforementioned promised ice cream segment. We're screaming for ice cream. Reading Terminal Market's annual ice cream festival is this weekend. We're putting our banana sundae skills to the test, blindfolded and with mystery flavors. Here is that segment from Good Day Philadelphia this morning.
I had to put on my ice cream hat. Yes, ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. What better way to celebrate this weekend at Reading Terminal Market? This is the place where I'm going to be. They actually have an ice cream festival. Alex Bassett Strange, good morning to you. Dumb question of the day, any relation to Bassett's?
Yes, a little bit.
So ice cream festival, what's taking place this weekend?
Yep, so tomorrow actually is the Philadelphia Ice Cream Scoop. We're going to have about a dozen of the top ice cream shops here in Philadelphia join us to celebrate ice cream and its unique history here in Philadelphia. Got games, demonstrations, a lot of different flavors that you may never have seen before.
And that's taking place tomorrow, 11 to 5. It's absolutely free. You kind of pay as you go, right?
Right, yep, free to come on in, and then ice cream is pay as you go, as you said.
And what do you have here this morning?
So we brought our classic vanilla ice cream. We're also scooping up some mini cones.
Oh, that looks so good. I'm coming back for that. Eric Burley, Franklin Fountain, good morning. Our friends over at Franklin Fountain. We always love the treats that you guys have.
Thank you. Thanks. We're excited to be part of the Philadelphia Ice Cream Festival at Reading Terminal Market tomorrow. We're going to be highlighting our ice cream bars, flavored ice cream in the shape of keystones, the Pennsylvania State, dipping it in our bean to bar chocolate ice cream, and getting your choice of toppings. And it's called the Franklin Ice Cream Bar. It's right next door to the Franklin Fountain.
Congratulations. You're celebrating 15 years, right?
15 years. We're excited to be here still.
Always delicious. All right, let's go over to Sweet Charlie's. Kyle, Bill, and good morning to you. Good morning. These are rolled up ice creams, right? You're dealing with a surface like 20 below.
Yes, we are. Yep, we're super excited for tomorrow. We're going to be serving our rolled ice cream, a couple flavors of it. It's all made from scratch right in front of the customer. And then a few lucky customers will have a chance to compete in the ice cream roll relay race, where they will race to finish a course and eat ice cream rolls faster than the opponent. So we're super.
So those who aren't familiar, you basically put the sweet cream down on a really cold surface.
Base down on a surface that's negative 20 degrees, and then mix in fresh ingredients to flavor the base, and then form these cool little rolls here.
Always delicious. All right, let's head over to the main table here, because this is where it's all going to go down. It is an ice cream competition. Ryan Hendricksburg from Little Babies, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
You guys are known for your very unique flavors, aren't you?
We are.
What do we have this morning?
Well, this morning I bought one of our more popular flavors, plain.
And that's because we have an ice cream competition going on between Karen and Alex.
Yes.
And it is building the perfect ice cream sundae banana split. What's the key?
The key is just, really putting your heart into it, really putting your senses into it, using your hands, and just working it out.
All right, so we have all the basics here. We have cherry, we have butterscotch, we have sprinkles, we have peanuts, we have chocolate syrup, of course, cherries, but we also have some unique ingredients, right?
Yeah, we do. We brought a couple of things with us today. We have green olives and sriracha hot sauce.
All right, we're going to make sure that, well, we're not going to tell them where these ingredients are. We're just going to see how they make their hot fudge sundae, what ingredients they reach for, if they reach for the right one or the wrong one. So we're going to put, what are we putting, 30, 45 seconds on the clock? Are you guys ready? So let's get the, where are the cups here, Alex?
Yeah,
all right, you have
cup?
yours. All right, here's your cup. You have your scooper?
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you a little hand here. Here's your scooper.
Okay.
Reach around for it. I'm going to take these away and let the competition begin. Go for it.
Quincy, where's my ice cream? Oh, shoot.
All right, Quincy's not
Quincy's
here
not
for
here to
some
help
reason,
me,
but it's
Karen.
okay.
Ow. It's all on
go
us.
for the ice cream. Get that scoop going. Come on, Karen.
Muscle into it.
All right.
God, this is
Got
so
your base
sorry.
there. All right, now we're going to switch it up. You have a little bit of ice cream. Go for some toppings. Go for the toppings. Reach for it. Reach for the toppings. Any toppings you can. Come on. Countdown is on. Just reach. Just go.
Yeah.
Just go for it. You got a little, all right.
I don't know if
Mixing
it's
it up a
coming
little,
out. I
Alex.
can't
It
tell.
came out.
Okay.
You got this. Here, take some.
All right, a little more.
Oh,
Wait.
Remember, you're
Now
gonna,
those feel like olives. I'm onto you.
you're going to have to eat this.
I know my olives. I love olives. Oh, wait.
All right,
I
go
don't-
for it. Put that syrup on there.
in there.
Is it coming
No,
out?
a little bit
got it,
more.
you got
A little
it.
bit more. There you go, Alex. How are you doing over here, Karen? No, just go for
Wait,
it.
I
Whatever
just
you reach
landed
for,
in
just put on
something,
your
I'm
hot
not
fudge
sure.
sundae.
No, I know that's an
I'm
olive.
not sure what it was.
I can tell. Where's my cherry?
Oh, my
Sprinkles.
banana.
Oh, I didn't get my banana.
Yeah. All right. No, keep it going.
No, keep it going.
Yep, keep it going.
Keep working.
All right.
Oh, you brat.
All right.
You
Who
rat.
made the better hot fudge banana split sundae?
You know what? I'm going to say I see one banana there. It's going to be Alex.
Alex, congratulations.
But I put sriracha in mine. Does that still count?
Oh,
Which means, Karen, you're going to have to eat Alex's hot fudge creation.
I added sriracha into mine.
But
so
she doesn't
there
have
you
to
go.
eat that one. So, are you ready? Here goes the spoon.
Here, you got it?
Wait. So 11 to 5 tomorrow, Reading Terminal Market. It is an ice cream extravaganza. Come down. They have 13 different artisans. It's free, absolutely free to get in. You just kind of pay as you go. Do you guys feel like you have a new career going on here?
No. I'll just eat the ice cream.
I tell you what, I'll take a taste of it. We're back in about 90 seconds. That's good.
All right. Great event there at the Reading Terminal Market if you can get there this weekend. We do have some breaking news. I'll get you out to a shot of this when I can. We are working to confirm the information we're hearing here, but Skyfox is over the scene of a. Well, let's get you. Let's do this first, and then we'll come back to the information for you. Skyfox is over the scene of what's reported to be a shooting outside of a district magistrate's office in Delaware County. We'll take this shot briefly here. It looks like we're pretty far zoomed out. We're told that this was a shooting outside of the district court office in Lower Chichester in Delaware County, the Linwood section of Delaware County. There does appear to be a possible victim outside the courthouse, so we're going to cut away if the shot gets zoomed in, but right now you can see police and emergency responders at the scene. We're working to gather more information on what's happened here. But again, authorities were called to the Lower Chichester District Court for a reported gunshot wound victim. We don't know the extent of injuries at this time, although it looks like there could be a fatality. We're obviously trying to gather more information. Don't know the circumstances of the shooting at all. There is a report that there may be a suspect in custody, but we are working to get confirmed information from authorities. So again, what we can tell you is there appears to have been a shooting of some kind outside of the Lower Chichester District Court in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. It's located in the area of on the 500 block of West Ridge Road. Authorities there at the scene investigating. Skyfox staying zoomed out due to the circumstances on the ground there. But multiple police vehicles at the scene, fire police there directing traffic around the area. We will be gathering information on this throughout the day and bringing the latest to you on fox29.com, as well as our Facebook page and our other social media accounts. Again, looks to be a shooting outside of a district court office. Lower Chichester District Court in Lower Chichester Township, the Linwood section in Delaware County. Authorities at the scene investigating. Have ambulance crews there, fire police as well, helping to direct traffic. And as we get more information, we'll bring that to you on fox29.com and, of course, on the Fox 29 News at 5, 6, 10, and 11 later tonight. Again, Paul Ripple here with Fox 29 News Now. You're looking at the scene of what was reported to be a possible shooting outside of District Court in Chichester, Delaware County. Chichester Township, that is, Linwood section of Delaware County. We do not have a confirmed report from authorities yet on the extent of injuries, number of victims, or any other information, but we're working to gather that. Again, Skyfox is over the scene of a reported shooting in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. This reportedly occurred. Looks like our shot is going in and out here a little bit. We're told this happened outside of a district court office in Delaware County. We're awaiting more information from authorities. Our chopper is staying zoomed out here because of the circumstances on the ground. Let's take it back to, as I mentioned, if we get more information about the circumstances of that shooting, we will certainly bring those to you. Before we go, we have one more thing we were going to do for Fox 29 News Now. Let's get you to that right now. Let's take a live look at the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Of course, today is the day Team USA is taking on the home country of France in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. FIFA 2019 World Cup in Paris, France. In France, entirely the country. The winner of this game will move on to the semifinals. So, of course, the U.S. is playing the host country there. Kickoff is at 3 right here on Fox. Most of us are supporting our national team from here at home, but if you wanted to get a front row seat in France, it will seriously cost you. ESPNW shared this breakdown on Twitter. Their data is from Vivid Seats. It shows that the most expensive ticket for today's matchup costs over $11,000. The tickets are less than the NBA final game this year, but more than the UNC Duke game. It also costs more than the Stanley Cup Finals and the college football playoff combined. Of course, as we mentioned, that's probably due in part to the U.S. playing the host nation there, France, in the World Cup game, and as well as the a trip to the semifinals being on the line in this quarterfinal matchup. I believe France is ranked second in the world. The U.S. women are coming off of winning their third World Cup in 2015. So we wish them the best today in that game. As we mentioned, you can watch it on Fox 29 on Fox 29 today. We also will have the game in the Fox Sports app. We'll have some links on social media and elsewhere to help you get there. If you come to our website and look under sports, you'll find a link to the Fox Sports app there. So the Eiffel Tower there in Paris, as our women look to knock off the second best team in the world and take the next step towards their hopes of winning a fourth World Cup, getting a fourth star above the crest on their jersey. So thank you very much for joining us today on Fox 29 News Now. We're with you weekdays at 10 a.m. after Good Day Philadelphia goes off the air. Try to get you out to some live events. Certainly had a few of those today. A little bit of technical difficulty in the middle of the show, but I hope you were able to stick with us. And thank you for watching. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.